Hi, Ranger Joan here, and while we're talking about hummingbirds today, we often get a lot of questions about hummingbird feeders, so we thought we'd spend just a few moments talking about hummingbird feeders and their maintenance. One thing to keep in mind, birds are very self-sufficient in finding their own food. So if you hang up a feeder, it's for your pleasure and convenience, and you need to make sure you do it correctly and safely for the birds. So the first question is, what kind of feeder? There's so many out there on the marketplace. There's an easy answer for that. One that is easy to maintain and monitor. So here's a good one. Comes apart in several different parts, and there's a wide neck so that you can easily clean the inside of the main part. And then the base comes apart in two sections so that it is easy to clean and maintain here. Talking about maintenance of the feeders. One of the problems with hummingbird feeders is there's a black mold that grows on the feeders, which is dangerous for the birds. You don't need to allow that to happen there. So make sure that you are maintaining constantly throughout the summer your feeders there, and it's easy to do. You just need to get hot water, a quarter cup of bleach to a gallon of water, and let them soak. Just leave them and let them soak, and it will kill all the algae on your feeder. After, you need to rinse, and triple rinse with water. Make sure there's no bleach water left on there, and then let it air dry. So, once you have your feeder, what put in the feeder? There is a nectar that we make, an artificial nectar. You don't need to buy anything from the store. It's usually not too good for the hummingbirds. You simply need to mix sugar and water for your nectar, and there's an easy ratio, 1 part sugar to 4 parts water. And I use my hand to remember that. So 1 part sugar is my thumb, and 4 parts water are my fingers there. Mix it up. You don't have to boil the water or do any special treatment to the water, and then you have your nectar in there. It is important that you change your water out, though, every 2 to 3 days, because in the summertime the water will ferment, and that's not good for your hummers too. Now, there's a very important part that I need to mention here. It's a common myth that you have to put red dye in the water to attract the hummingbirds. It's actually dangerous for the hummingbirds there. So do not put red dye in your water. Matter of fact, I want you to repeat after me. No red dye, because it is not necessary, and it can be dangerous for your hummers there. So, you got it filled, where to hang it? It can really be hung anywhere. The birds are just going to eat on the wing, and so you can put it up next to a window or near a bush or someplace where you can easily see and monitor it. When to hang it? About mid-March in the spring is when you need to start hanging the feeder. And you need to take it down after your hummers are gone. It's also a myth that people say, take your feeders down to make sure they migrate on time. The birds know when to migrate. You just need to leave it up till the hummers are gone. And some people go even further. They'll leave up a winter feeder to attract some of those unusual winter birds that might come there. So there's a couple of predators that get on there sometimes, praying mantis, snakes, things like that. So all you need to do, if you find anything around your feeder, you just need to remove it, take it to someplace else, and that will be, get rid of that. The one thing you need to be sure to watch is domestic cats. Those are probably the biggest predator there. Hang your feeder where they cannot ambush and get to your hummers very easily there. Sometimes there's bees or wasps or ants that get on there. If you have bees or wasps, just take the feeder down, and then they will move on, and then you can put them back up. An occasional bee or wasp will be around, and that's no problem there. Ants, there is an actual attachment that you can put a water moat in there, and that will keep the ants away. You don't have to put pesticides in that water moat or anything, just the water will keep the ants from getting to your feeder. Some people that have a shepherd's hook hanging feeder grease the pole. Don't do that. It's very dangerous for the birds. If they get that grease and Vaseline stuff on their feathers, they will not be able to function correctly. So never ever grease your pole there. So there's a couple of tips for you for your hummingbird feeder. We hope you enjoy, and thanks for joining us.